Hello guys, welcome to another video. In this one I will show you an awesome thing you can do with Kadence Elements, where you can do a lot of stuff with Kadence Elements, and in the next couple of videos I will show you in a couple of weeks all different things you can do. I will start with making our own custom floating button at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen, you can choose, and then when users click on it they open up a pop-up, for example, with some extra information that you want to be, for example, a temporary measure or a temporary a super price that you have on your website. You can style it like you want. Let me show you. For this you need to have the Pro version of Kadence, because then otherwise you won't see here appearance. And when I go down you see Kadence, and then you have like an enter with elements. If you don't see this and you have Kadence Pro, you can go to Kadence, and then here you will have to click on hooked elements. If you enable this one, then if you refresh the page you will see this elements thing. If you don't have it, it's because you don't have the Pro version of Kadence. It's not the Pro version of the blocks, it's the Pro version of the Kadence theme you need for this. Yeah? Elements. Okay, let's get into it. Elements. Let's create a new one. Let's add a title, floating button, for example. And then we're immediately going to go to our element settings. We want it to be a fixed element, yeah. And then the placement, you can see you have different things. It can be fixed on top, transparent header. You can change this if you want to. You can do it fixed bottom after scroll with no space below the footer, but we're going to use this one, fixed bottom after scroll. You can also have fixed bottom, but then it will be always on the bottom, and you will only see it when the page is completely scrolled down. So this one is going to be more suitable for our floating button. And then we will change this later to show you. Now it's 300 pixels, so this means if we scroll down 300 pixels in the page, then the button will start appearing, but you can make this smaller or bigger, of course, if you wanted to. Display settings, really awesome feature. You can do a lot of things here. You can say I only want this floating button. Let's say you make a blog post and it's a blog post about some product, and you only want your floating button to be on the blog post that contains information about that particular product. Then you can here go to, for example, to the single posts, or if you have custom post types, like here my custom post type online seminars, I only want it to be in my single online seminars. And then you can even individually select which, I don't have any online seminars at the moment, but you can individually select which ones you want. So it's a really awesome feature. And then you can combine rules. You can also say I want it to be in all online seminars, but I want it to be hidden on this online seminars by this author. This is my name, for example. Yeah, so you can do a lot of things here. I now am going to do just the entire site, so the button will be visible just for demo purposes. User settings, visible to all users, but you can here specify I only want my users that are not a member yet seeing the button, or the opposite, I want them to be logged in, and then they can see the specific extra promo or whatever, but also specific role. I have some custom roles here, a student level 1 and a student level 2. Let's say they are subscribed to my level 1 course and I want them to be having some special codes for level 2. You can say I want my student level 1s to see this button on the entire site, or on, for example, again on the blog page, or on my courses, on my online seminars. I want only the level 1 students to get this information. Yeah? So it's really advanced. You can really set it up so that depending on which user is logged in, you see completely different things on your website. Yeah? Let's now just do all users to start with. And device settings is also really handy, because on desktop this is often and tablet is often looking really cool, like a floating button, but on mobile the button can be floating over the content too much, and it's like annoying because the users can't really see, or it hinders the user experience. So you can say I want it to be visible on desktop and on tablet, but then it won't be shown on mobile, for example. So also really handy. And then this also awesome expires. You can enable this, and then you can say I want this to be until, let's say you have something for Christmas, I want it to be until the 25th of December and 10 p.m. for example, something. So then it will automatically be gone after this date section. Let's go now. Fixed bottom after scroll. These are the things that I've put on the entire site. All users, only on desktop and on tablet, and expires I'm going to disable it, but you know it exists now. And then we're going to use, you can do it different ways. You can make a button here and then make a cadence conversion pop-up, and then you link this cadence conversion pop-up to this button. It's a little bit more advanced, but it gives you a little bit more options to do. But the easy way I will show you, or I think is an easy way, is to use the modal. This is also a pop-up kind of stuff, and that's enabled in the cadence blocks. It's a cadence block. And then here we have our button, and then below you see when they click on the button, this is the thing they will see. So let's first make something out of our button. You can make this an icon if you want to. You can also, now we have to go back to the gear icon to see the model settings. So link settings, show link, you can also disable it, but then there won't be anything to click. So, and then you can make a custom open ID. This will be something for a later video where they only see the model, and then you can link this model to a button that's already on your page. But now we want the button itself. We can make it, these are some standard colors, of course. Let's just, I don't want any border, or yeah, maybe I want a border a little bit and a little shadow underneath. Perfect. The border width can be 1 pixel, yes. Border radius can be 10. I'm just doing some stuff really fast. And then you can set up a font family if you want to here, but by default it will take the font family you have already enabled in your normal settings. I want an icon, for example. Let's say you want it to be something that's getting their attention. It could be something like, let's have a look. I'll maybe pick this one in the beginning. Oh, I'm out of. Let's maybe make it like this. Yeah. So I have a little icon. You can, if you want a small button, you can just remove the text and only have the icon, and then you enable this, and then it will be a subtle button that's not too intrusive on your site. So let's see if this works. Then overlay background color, you can choose whatever. You will see this is the gray area. If I do this, yeah, well, let's make it a little bit obvious so you can see. And I have some animation settings. So if they click on the button, does it have to fade in from up, down, left, right? So these are some or slide in or zoom in. Let's make just a normal fade in for now and a normal fade out if they click on the closing button. I want it to be centered and I want it to be in the middle. This is also nice. Then you can see fit to content. So this means whatever, if I have a lot of content, my model will be bigger. If I have almost no content, my model will be really small. But I can also say I want it always to be a minimum height of 400 pixels by default, for example, or I want it to be always full screen height, so it's completely covering the whole screen if they click on the button. Yeah, but I'm not going to do this. Maybe let's say I want it to be minimum of 300 pixels. The width, you can say I want it to be always 100% of the viewport width, 100%. And then you can do this for tablet and desktop and mobile separately. But let's make this maybe 60% of the desktop width and 80% of tablet width. And the max width, for example, I want it no bigger than 800 pixels. So 800 pixels. Voila. So a lot of settings you can a lot of options to make it a little bit nicer. Then the closing button, if you wanted to, this is the one here. You can do it inside of the box, but it can also be outside of the box. I like it more inside, and then I like to do it a little bit bigger so people can, it's obvious, they don't have to really they have to see it immediately that they can close this easily, because otherwise it can be a bit annoying for the people visiting your site. And then you can of course style it again. Let's make this blue again, and then close modal as the area label. So by default it's close modal, so I would leave this instead, then it's for your accessibility. Then the box styling, everything that's inside I want it to be centered, so you see the create awesome is switching to the center, and I want it to be in the middle. So this is something you can choose just for purposes that I show you. You can give it a little border for 1 pixel, and we'll give it a blue border of 1 pixel, and I give the same 10 pixel radius, some padding and some margin. This all default settings, I haven't changed anything. I want some shadow, also the default shadow, I'm not going to change it. And then we can say here you can put in whatever you want. You see I can also put in dynamic content here. If I also with the Pro blocks is this possible, but now I'm just going to do a heading. So here you can, in this model, you can put in whatever button or block you want. So this is really customizable. Let's make this just a super promo. Let's do some image. Let's make an image overlay. Select an image. I'm not really having a lot of images now. Oh, I have this plugin, Instant Images. I have a video about this. This enables you to import just like this. Bam, we have the image. Really fast and easy way. So this is also a Kadence block, the image overlay block. This again can link to another page with your promo product, for example. You have a lot of, you can make it a slide if they hover over it. So grayscale, you can do whatever you want. I'm going just to this zoom in one. Overlay settings, let's make this blue, the same blue, yeah. And then the opacity maybe a little bit lower, 0.7, so we can still see for perfect. Border settings, this is the white border you see here. It's 2 pixels, it's 10 pixels from the edge. You can make this 40 pixels for example, so whatever you want. Text alignment, this is the title and subtitle. You can click on it and then change it here. Limited time, I'm not a marketeer, so I'm just gonna put some text. Limited time only, so this only shows whenever they hover over it. This can go away. Title settings, you can choose not to use it, yeah, but I'm using it. Let's make this also like a reddish color. Voila. Let's go to title and subtitle. You can have a divider. Let's make this a solid line, for example, so you will see this line in between. Divider width can be a bit smaller, maybe even smaller. Yeah, perfect. Subtitle settings, hidden until hover, but you can always make it always visible as well. I'm doing it like this. And then the color, let's make it something, voila. And this is going to be by default. Then updating, and now we have to see, we have to open up a page and see if this even works and if we see the button. So let's go to my pages. I have here a demo page. Let's view them. And now you remember I'll show you by my element settings. Priority 10, so this is if you have different ones on the same page, the highest priority will be used first, but I have only one, so I'm not going to have to change it. And on the scroll down distance here is 300, and it's on the bottom after scroll. So when I start to scroll down after 300 pixels, you should see in the bottom right, or the bottom, here it is. You see it? And if I click on it, but you see it's working nicely, but the layout is not what it should be. So we have to change some things. And then make this bottom and see what happens now. Okay, this is looking better already. I'm going to have to remove the blue color because let's just make this 0, so that means transparent. Then this weird color. Yeah, this is already more like I wanted to. Yes, perfect. Now this is quite a big button, of course, a big model, so it's quite intrusive, but you can of course change this to however you want it to. You can size here, minimum height is 300 pixels, and the width, let's make it maybe a little bit smaller, let's say 30%, and see what this gives. So a lot of things, this is for me looking way nicer, so a lot of things you have to just change and try for yourself, and then you can just immediately see how it looks. If I scroll down, this is too much on the bottom of the screen, change the margin, but let's make this a right align. You see the button is switching to the right. And then, and then we have to also put a bit of margin here on the bottom. Let's click on this one, so we do, it's on the right side. I want maybe 30 pixels, and on the bottom at 30 pixels also. Click on update, and if we refresh, it should look already better now. Now you see it's 30 pixels from the right, 30 pixels from the bottom, and if I click on it, this is still going to the, so maybe I want this to be also appearing here now. So let's change this. We have to go back to our model itself. This is the link settings, so this is the button. Let's go to our model position. We want it to be on the right side bottom, because then it will be more visible already. Yeah, so you see, this is how it should be. So clicking on it, hovering over it, and then if you have a link here and they click on it, they can go to your promo page. But these are the things that work for now. So model box horizontal align, this is the right, so it's showing on the right side at the same position as the button. And then box vertical align, so on the vertical axis we choose bottom here, but if we go to our live page, we see that instead of bottom, it's showing more on top. Yeah, so this is a bit because we're working with the elements, and I made it sticky on the bottom. It's a bit strange looking now, but you have to just try it on your page, and you will see that by changing some stuff, sooner or later you will get there. So for now, this looks the nicest for me. Clicking on the button and it's hovering, it's going here. Yeah. The styling, of course, is really ugly again because I've just done it for demo purposes, but now you know how it works. And this should also work in another page. The only thing, yeah, so here again, if I scroll down far enough, you see clicking on it is making this. Yeah. So scrolling down, the button appears. So now it's, of course, it's looking really small, so it's not really obvious. So you can do this with text, of course, if I wanted to. Link settings, and then I have to, the icon is for me is fine, but I have to close this, and then I can put in text, click me, update. So now it will be a little bit more obvious to see. So these are some of the settings that I could show you. You see, it's not completely ideal, and that's because it's a model block, but it's within an element, and the element is fixed to the bottom after scroll. So this button is going to be fixed to the bottom after scroll with 200 pixels, but the model will also try to fix itself to the bottom. So if you use this model block within a normal page, just as a pop-up button without the fixed bottom thing, the settings for showing this, if you click on the button, the settings to pop it up will be more logically than what I'm showing you now, because now I have to change this to right here, and then what was it, bottom? No, it was, yeah, bottom, I think it was, before it showed up like it should. Like this. I've made it a bit bigger now. Let's go to inspect and then go to my tablet view, because I think I said it should also be appearing on a tablet. So this is a tablet, yeah. So you see the same thing, scrolling down 200 pixels, and let's see. Let's make this a bit smaller. you see this is working fine for tablet as well. You have different stylings options, of course. You can make this X closing button a bit smaller or bigger, but then as soon as I go to mobile view, you will see the button disappears from, I think Kadence is from 720 or something. Yeah, 720, it's still here, so this is considered tablet, and then below it is considered mobile, and you see the button disappears. If it should be here, if it would be here on 320 pixels, it would probably be too big here and be spanning over the text. So that's why I don't really like big buttons on fixed buttons on smaller screens, but again, that's personal. As soon as I go over and I scroll down, I have more than 720 pixels, you see it appears again. So I hope this was helpful. The other way you could do this is by using the same thing like an element, and you make it again fixed bottom after scroll, and then you can just use a regular button, and then you can link this button to a Kadence conversion item. So this will be something I will show you in the next video, and this is a bit more logically. Everything considering the positioning now is a bit strange. If you work with the conversion, it's a bit more work because you have to do an element, and then afterwards you have to make a conversion item themselves, but the positioning itself is a bit more logically. So try it, play a little bit with the positioning. If you stick with the same settings that I did, it should work fine, and if there are any problems or it doesn't work, just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next